Hey, it's John with Vision Advisors, and I want to welcome you for taking time out of your schedule. Whether you're watching this morning, afternoon, or you're visiting our learning library in the evenings, we've got an opportunity today to talk to you about a very unique tool in our toolbox that you should be taking advantage of if you're working with clients that are trying to figure out how they're going to turn assets that they've been accumulating over their working years into retirement income. You know, we're living in a world that is moving into more of an increasingly regulatory scrutinized environment. We've seen Reg BI come into play. We've seen the NAIC annuity sales law being promulgated. We've seen the reintroduction of the DOL rule coming down the pipe. A number of states have been implementing best interest standards. And one of the things we talk about here at Vision Advisors is having a process, some tools and some resources that are available to you so that you can have a repeatable and duplicatable system that every time you're sitting down with a client to help identify their problems and to solve those problems as a result of identifying those, having some tools and resources that you can use over and over again is one of the best things that you can do to make sure that you're being compliant in the world in which we live today. You know, I'm excited to have on the call with me today Tariq Novak from AIG, and they've got a very unique tool called Income Savvy. And this is a selling system. It's not just a resource. It's a tool that you can actually sell from, engage in fact finding with, and then ultimately lead to solving a client's income gap in retirement. And if you're not taking advantage of this tool, this is an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about it. So Tariq, thank you for joining us, and I'm going to let you jump in and tell us about Income Savvy and how it can help our producers work and benefit their clients.
Wonderful, John. Thank you for the introduction. I think you hit the nail on the head where you made sure to let your agents know it's a simple, repeatable, and effective process that can help them connect with their clients. And again, is something they could use in the virtual setting as well as a live face-to-face setting. It helps them establish why are the agent and client having this discussion, helping them make better informed decisions about retirement, gives the agent the credibility with arms of facts and statistics, which help establishes the client's need and want for a product solution. And hopefully one of those solutions will be into play potentially the AIG index annuity product. So let's get started. Income Savvy, turning your assets into retirement income. Take a look at the next page here. These, as John mentioned, is a business building program designed to help clients make those informed decisions and create personalized solutions. It comes equipped with white papers about sequence of return, brochure, fact finder, worksheets, and a plethora of other material that is available to you through Vision Advisors. So let's get started here. Ultimately, as I would be engaging with a client virtually or face-to-face, I'm going to share with them that how they will be better educated once we sit through this short exercise. And more importantly, they're going to know where they stand as far as their retirement income gap and what risks they have going forward. The 4 questions we're going to address are: what challenges do I need to be prepared for in retirement? How can I generate income from my savings and investment? There's many different ways to slice and dice it, but what's the best place and where do I start? And more importantly, how can I generate more guaranteed income? So let's just touch on the 5 retiree challenges. And many of you know this by the back of your hand, but it's so important to educate our clients on the reality that living longer is more of a certainty. 50% chance that one spouse will live to 93 and 25% chance that one spouse will live to age 97. Inflation, I call this the silent thief. It's taking pennies out of our pocket every day. But imagine this, over the past 30 years, average inflation has been around 2.6%. So if we take that number and apply it going forward for the next 30 years, if it costs us $60,000 to keep the lights on in the house today, in 30 years, just by that rule of inflation of 2.6%, the same light, the same house, all our lifestyle being the same, would cost us $128,000 to live off of. That's the silent thief of inflation. We see that, quite frankly, when we go out and purchase a car every 4, 5, or 6 years. The prices are so much more so increasing. Healthcare costs are also at rising risk of inflation, more than the CPI purchasing power. Healthcare on a 65-year-old couple today should at least plan on spending $275,000 in cash and deductibles, co-pays for health concerns, and that's as if you were fairly healthy. A 70% chance that one of the spouses of that 65-year-old couple will eventually need a long-term care of some sort. Risk number 4, how much do we know the safe withdrawal rate? Today's safe withdrawal rate, or I should say yesterday's safe withdrawal rate, was 4%. However, is it safe today knowing that the annual inflation adjusted withdrawal is actually more so 3% with the cost of rising healthcare? Our money managers, such as T. Rowe Price, which is where this information is coming from, stating that 4% is not as safe today as it was in the past. They are telling us there's a 20% failure rate in that 4% rule. And that's in a 60-40 stock bond portfolio, as if we had 30 years of retirement in front of us and a 3% annual inflation. And basically, this is based on Monte Carlo analysis, multiple of them, so that they came out with this math. Let's take a look at another reason why that 4% rule is failing. It's the reality of the case of declining yields. Take a look at this individual standalone piece that also is client approved. You're seeing the years of 2007, 2013, and 2020. Take a look at the range of a 5-year CD back in 07, 3.73 to under 1% today. Same thing with the 10-year Treasury. And what that's telling us, what we're hearing from investment firms, that the inflation CPIU adjusted spending is truly now in a moderate portfolio of 50% stocks, 50% bonds, is now 2.35. So imagine this. You had $1 million of retirement savings, and you were planning on spending at least $40,000 of it every year, adjusted for inflation. Now, most of us have Social Security today, so that would complement what we were getting in Social Security. So we thought that was a very conservative withdrawal. However, what we're being told today, that's not working for us. We'd rather have more security of our assets lasting for the next 30 years if we start out today with a 2.35% withdrawal because of the low interest rates and yields. So that's 2.35 of our $1 million, 23,500, folks. Many of you are kind of snickering right now and saying, how is that possible to live off of that? Quite frankly, it's not. So where do we find solutions that can help us with this challenge? Let's talk about one more challenge before we go to a solution-based plan. What if a market decline were to happen? Well, for a lot of us, our savings were in the market in February, and we saw the market high, then plummet 20, 25, 30% in March, and slowly then start picking back up in April. But what would a 20% decline, how would that affect a client who put off retirement for 1 month? They were going to retire at the, let's say, mid-February, and they decided to retire instead at the beginning of April. Well, 20% decline. I'd like to demonstrate that a little bit here by using some annotation. Let's just also, let's see here. I'm going to do a drawing, and I'm going to use red. How about that? Okay. So let's just take a look here at a 30-year time horizon for our 65-year-old couple, because they're fairly healthy. We'll use this box. And they're at a 60-40 stock bond portfolio mix. And we just said that 4% inflation withdrawal adjustment would work, but it would only work about 80% of the time. For instance, we already said, according to sources such as T. Rowe Price, based on their Monte Carlo analysis, 30-year horizon, adjusted for a 3% inflation. With all these disclosures, we're saying that there's an 80% chance of success and a 20% chance of failure, right? Now, when we say failure, what do we mean by that? Well, quite frankly, they've helped us out here a little bit, not left us guessing, but the likelihood of having at least $1 remaining in the portfolio at the end of that 30-year period. So remember that last risk about market decline, and remember you put off retirement for about a month and a half. So your $1 million were affected by the 20% market decline in March. So now your $1 million is worth $800,000 minus that 20% decline. And keep in mind, you didn't know any better. You were still going to take your $40,000 withdrawal for retirement income starting out the gate, now in April. Well, what's $40,000 divided by 800,000? Quite frankly, it's now a 5% withdrawal rate. And what does that show us as far as the likelihood of success? We now have a 56% success rate, and a 44% failure rate. Again, the likelihood of having at least $1 remaining in our portfolio at the end of that 30-year period. That's quite a drastic challenge to our lifestyle. And there will be such uncertainty that we may need to consider maybe supplementing some part-time job with income. So that's the last risk of what I wanted to share with you. But going forward, how can we encourage the client to have a solution to this? Well, let's ask them, how much of your retirement income is protected from market volatility and guaranteed to last? They'll ask us, well, what do you mean by that? Well, quite frankly, your home is insured, even though the losses of major fire damage in the next 30 years is less than 1%. You have life insurance, you have auto insurance. How much of your retirement savings, your IRA, your 401k, is protected from the market? And by the way, a market decline of 20% more on average happens every 3 to 4 years. So how much of that is insured? Well, here, this is when they start scratching their head. And ultimately, we're trying to encourage them to think about how to generate more income from their savings and investment, and more so, where do they start and how to show guaranteed income. This is when we transition to the income savvy brochure. Basically, it's going to help our client determine how much they're going to need each year to cover their essential lifestyle and their discretionary lifestyle expenses. The workbook looks like this. And if you notice, this is PDF fillable. So we're just going to get started and just run a quick sample for you so you can take a look at this. It's going to share the same exact information and slides. Again, those 5 major risks. And it's going to help us establish, okay, kind of where that client is today on what they have insured and what they don't have insured. Let's just fill this in, shall we? This is, we encourage to actually sit with the client and fill this out, whether online, virtual meeting, or face-to-face. So if one of your most valuable assets is your retirement savings, and we know there's historical decline of the market that we risk every 3 to 4 years, let's continue our conversation with myself as your financial professional so that we can talk a little bit more about how to insure some of your retirement savings so it's there when you need it, when you are going to retire. So the last question we asked was, how can they generate income from their savings and investments? Well, there's a basic way to do it. It's the income floor approach. Basically, we're providing a solid foundation for addressing their retirement needs. With this strategy, a minimum level of income is established to cover their essential lifestyle expenses. By the way, after we come up with their essential lifestyle expenses, we could also see if it's worthy that they may have a need in covering some of their discretionary lifestyle expenses. Well, how does that look? Well, quite simply, it's pretty easy to just illustrate here with the retirement needs pyramid. The essential lifestyle expenses is the bottom base of the foundation of their retirement portfolio. Let me enlarge that for you. And what does that cover? Well, as you can see, the needs of daily living and maintaining the lifestyle they desire: food, home, clothing, transportation, and more important, it should be funded from guaranteed sources: Social Security, pensions, and annuities. Keep in mind, it does say here, or low-risk investments such as CDs and bonds. However, I would hesitate because of the new searching for yields. You're not finding those low-risk investments producing enough yield to at least cover our inflationary risks. So the only thing that we can control really here is this word here, annuities. Well, how does that fit into the solution? Well, let's take the next step forward. Let's talk about where do you start, and let's assess some of your needs. So let's just plug it in and see it self-calculate for us. Let's say here we're going to do 3,000 here, 3,000 here. Just throw up some general numbers. Everybody's going to be different. Unfortunately, we have to put in income taxes, or pay them, I should say. If there's a field that we're not electing, we're just going to keep it, we're going to put it at a 0 instead of leaving it blank. Vacation, travel, recreation, let's say a membership to a country club, gifts and donations, other. Okay, if you've noticed, it's self-calculated the number for us. 45,000 is our essential, discretionary is 15,000, total is 60,000 is our income number. Let's go to the next page. Now, it's so important as we're going through this exercise that we're going to be looking at their guaranteed income sources. How much do they already have covered so that they don't have to worry about? Well, what's handy here is it identifies the opportunity to start Social Security early or on time or later by waiting and increasing their income of their Social Security to a larger amount. But the best way to establish what that number is for the clients individually, you see my cursor, it's already highlighting the SSA.gov website, and you right click on that. Let's see, I'm sorry, left click. Are we doing this right? It should be going in. I don't know if that's what it's doing here. No, let's do this differently. There we go. It did it right. Okay. So it's now taking me to the ssa.gov website where I can click on here to estimate my retirement benefits. Great estimator that actually allows us to see what our output would be depending on the age that we turn it on. Let me minimize that. Once we come up with that number, let's say of our 65-year-old couple today that we did the assessing their needs, let's say their Social Security at 65 is going to give them $25,000. They do not have any pensions, any other pensions, or own any other annuities with income riders. They do not have any rental income or part-time job income in retirement, or at least that they're not planning for right now. So all that being said, their total annual guaranteed income in the output here is $25,000. Now take a look at this math. The next page is already pre-filled for us. We see that of our guaranteed income of $25,000, we're spending essential income of $45,000. We have a $20,000 income gap that's not covered by guaranteed income. In other words, it's not covered by a pension, it's not covered by any other funding source. It's just going to be covered from our assets that are held in our brokerage account or 401k. Now, on the guaranteed annual income on the latter half of the page, it's just telling us what our total income gap is over our total expenses, discretionary and lifestyle. So that's $35,000. Next, it's going to encourage us to see that there might be a small problem. And this is calculating their income reliability ratio. It self-calculates itself. Basically, this ratio can help clients assess where they are in terms of retirement income security. If their ratio is low, they might want to consider how additional challenges, such as a market decline, or living longer than maybe 30 years than expected, could impact their long-term retirement income security. So when they did the math here, we see that today, these clients, 42% is their income reliability ratio. And this is what I would ask the client and stop to wait and see what they say. How comfortable do they feel with an income security level of 42%? Would they like us to review potential ways to increase their income reliability ratio to possibly 70, 80, or maybe even 100%? So this leads us right into establishing whether we need to go and take a look at what ways we would create a higher income security. Also, I call it separately a sleep at night factor, because if our money isn't safe, we're not sleeping well at night. So the next page educates the client if they're facing an income gap and they want to improve their reliability ratio, have more retirement income security, they may want to consider repositioning a portion of their current savings and investments. And the annuity, as can be seen here, is one of the only investment tools that offer a guaranteed income, a personalized pension that you can buy yourself, whether a single life or joint life. However, which annuity is appropriate for you? Well, that's up for yourself and vision advisors to help guide you through that. At the last page, we're just doing a quick analysis of what the client currently has, so that what we have to work with. Could we reposition some of their IRA money? Looks like that we could do that. Maybe a 401k if they are retired and that can be moved. That's also assets that we could potentially reposition. Separately, if, let's say, if they had additional assets in non-qualified savings or cash and liquidity for emergency funds, or maybe even a home equity or cash value life insurance. Maybe from these buckets of money, we probably wouldn't touch, but from the upper two, we could probably draw a nice little solution for them. So let's say, for instance, in the case that for this sample client, we're going to take a look at just covering their essential needs. Now, what did we say their essential needs? The gap is $20,000. So let's take a look real quick at our calculator, the income gap calculator, otherwise known as income gap finder. That can be found on the AIG.com/annuity playbook. What you would do is you go in that playbook, which it's not behind a firewall, it's free and easy to use and access. And then you go into the third screen down, and then the bottom right-hand corner, click on Income Calculator. Click to enter. Maybe we can put the client's names here. We can also adjust the report for inflation. But keep in mind, if we're only going to take a portion of their retirement savings and put into the annuity, we're going to leave the rest that can also help them satisfy their inflationary needs on expenses, as well as maybe take care of some of their discretionary spending. Keep in mind here, I'm just plugging in the numbers from the brochure, as well as their Social Security number. Remember, we said that they did not have any other pensions or guaranteed sources of income, but they could, we could put, like I said, rental income or part-time job. And remember, of their total investable assets, we did a total analysis, it was about $1 million. Click next. And so this screen should look very familiar to you because it is a replica of what's in the Income Savvy workbook. 20,000 are our essential income gap, 35,000 of them are total. As the agent and advisor, we want to be careful to evaluate and give the client multiple options. But what we did discuss would at least be the safe baseline of where to start from, is to make sure their essential needs are all covered. We'll leave this as their lifestyle expenses at 0%, but we could also show them a second plan with that same, some of covering those expenses as well. On the bottom half here, you'll see me typing in the roll-up rate, excuse me, to the Power 10 Protector and the Power 7 Protector Index Annuity Series with AIG. So I plugged in a 5.75% roll-up, which AIG guarantees for 10 years. Even if clients are turning on the income right away, the roll-up continues to credit the difference over the remaining of the initial first 10 years. Now, for a 65-year-old couple, the joint withdrawal rate is 4.5%. If it was a single life, it would be 5% for a 65-year-old individual. And in the scenario that we're doing today with David and Patricia, they're retiring now, so there's no years of deferral. Next, we click the reposition button, and it tells us we've got now $444,444 that would meet their $20,000 essential income gap. Next, it tells us how we came up with that math. Remember, what's important to use an illustration to help them see the numbers total. For example, in our AIG Power 10 Protector, Power 7 Protector with the income rider, they're going to see this $20,000 increasing with the guaranteed roll-up that's guaranteed to rise for the first 10 years. $20,000 would be the amount initially out the gate. Then we click next, and we see before repositioning there was a shortfall of essential needs after repositioning of 444,000. We have 555,000 still remaining in their growth, mutual funds or other savings and investments and or liquidity needs. Also keep in mind, could you also present an accumulation sale of portion of these assets as well? Absolutely. You want to look at the AIG's index series and our accumulation rates with our crediting strategy options. Separately, the guaranteed income, we've now increased to 45,000. Remember, 25,000 was Social Security, and that total 20,000 came from this 444,000. So now we're at a $0 shortfall for our essential income needs. What's nice about this is that it prints out to a beautiful report that's in color that you can either save to a PDF or print. And it encapsulates everything that we've just shared. The income gap, how we filled that income gap, the total assets remaining outside in growth or liquidity. And then it also addresses 5 questions on fixed index annuities. So a couple things that we did here. When we illustrated the brochure and filled out the assessment of needs of essential versus discretionary, we also saw that at the end result of our first case, that the client ended up with a 42% income reliability ratio. We presented to the client, well, what if we could increase your income reliability ratio just to cover your essential expenses and possibly even cover your total expenses? Well, did we do just that? Why, yes, we did. How so? Well, let's take a look here. Back on the brochure, if I plug in 25,000 Social Security and now 20,000 guaranteed income from an annuity, my total guaranteed sources are 45,000, and it self-calculates now to a 75% income. Sorry, my mouse is a little sensitive here. It calculates to 75% income reliability ratio. Now, if we were to cover additional of this 35,000, the additional 15,000, we could actually get to 100% on the total expenses. But either way, we showed an improvement from 42% to 75%, which is ideal and what we wanted to do for David and Patricia. Remember, we just solved for 4 issues with David and Patricia. We gave them more guaranteed income. We eliminated their essential lifestyle income gap. We increased their income reliability ratio, otherwise known as sleep at night factor. And now they feel more confident about retirement. All because we became income savvy and utilized the tools that AIG has to offer. So I want to now hand it back over to John Terry as he provides some closing comments, but I do appreciate your time today allowing me to share this program with you.
Hey, Tariq, thank you for doing that. Guys and gals, I hope that you had an opportunity to see what Tariq showed today. This is an amazing tool that you can use, as she said, live in front of a client, or if you're meeting with them virtually using Zoom or some other video technology, you can have this same conversation with them and actually walk them through the steps in the process to identify their income gap and to help them solve that problem based upon their own unique wants and needs, risk profile, and risk tolerance. This very unique sales system gives you the opportunity to do something powerful visually for your clients. And remember, your clients see in pictures. So the ability to show them a picture of what their income is going to look like before and after can be extremely powerful. And this is not something that takes hours and hours to put together. As you saw, this was done on the fly. So in a 20, 30, 40-minute conversation with your clients, you've got an opportunity to help them become income savvy and really assist them in putting together an income plan for the rest of their life. So next steps for you. If you're not working with Vision Advisors and you want to get appointed with AIG, that's a very simple fix. You can reach out to us right here at 1-800-505-8489. Again, 1-800-505-8489. Or you can go directly to our website, visionadvisorsinc.com, and you can click on the Get Contracted link. If you choose to do that, you can get appointed with our carriers immediately. Now, one other resource Tariq has up is the AIG Annuity Playbook. Again, you don't have to be appointed with AIG to have access to this. It's not username and password protected, but the tools and resources are there. We're here to help you solve your money problems for your clients, to do the case prep and case design. The illustration that's run as a result of this really helps create that package of benefits, that trifecta. You know, Hot Springs is a racing town, so let's talk trifecta here. We can have your first, second, and third place horses all coming together by using the tools that you saw today, the Income Savvy brochure, the income calculator, and then the illustration to support that, everything that you need to be able to put your client's financial plan together. So Tariq, on behalf of all of us here at Vision, I want to say thank you. Any final comments that you got before we wrap this up?
No, I just appreciate the time, and just make sure you use these handy tools that make it real easy for your clients to come to their own conclusion that they need a plan, and you're there to help them through that plan.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I'm John Terry with Vision Advisors, and on behalf of all of us here at Vision, thanks for joining us today for this opportunity to take a look at a powerful income planning solution. We look forward to helping you. Our number again here is 1-800-505-8489. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.